Welcome back to Flick Favorites. I'm going to explain a crime, mystery, thriller film from 1995, titled, 7. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. William Somerset, who will be retiring in a week, will be working alongside Detective David Mills. There isn't much agreement between the two detectives. An obese man is lying dead at the table when Mills and Somerset get there. Whether it was a murder or not is still up for debate. They are certain it wasn't a natural death when they see that his wrists and legs are bound with barbed wire. Mills won't stop talking as Somerset continues to thoroughly inspect the corpse. Somerset suggests that he is a nuisance because he needs alone to ponder, telling Detective Mills to speak with the neighbors while he works. Later, as they are driving, Mills complains about Somerset's instruction for him to knock on doors. He wants to be taken more seriously since he feels unappreciated. The forensic investigation established that the obese guy had been force-fed and had overindulged before the murderer kicked him in the stomach, causing it to rupture. Let's talk about a murder case, ladies and gentlemen. According to Somerset, the obese guy was fed for a whole 12 hours, and murdering someone takes a lot of time unless the deed has a deeper significance. Because there is no motivation, he is confident that there will be other killings. He does not want Somerset to retire, he's too good at his job for that. Additionally, he claims that plastic components that were fed to the overweight guy were discovered in his body. Somerset is interested in this information. Returning to the original crime site, he further investigates and learns where the plastic fragments originated, concluding that the refrigerator had been relocated. A letter from the murderer is written on the wall behind it. Next to the grease-written word gluttony. He demonstrates the letter to the captain, which reads, "Long is the way and hard that out of hell leads up to light." Somerset therefore demonstrates that there are 7 deadly sins, including gluttony, greed, sloth, anger, pride, desire, and envy, which show that this is merely the beginning. Due of his impending retirement in 5 days, he declines to become engaged in this. He goes to the library at night to hunt for literature on the 7 deadly sins, while Mills examines the images of the crime sites more closely. Somerset, ever the friend, compiles a list for him and even replicates the most crucial information. He places a note on Mills' desk before daybreak that contains hints. Until Somerset departs, Mills and Somerset will collaborate in the same office. Somerset and Mills discuss the matter after supper. Although there is a match in the fingerprints, Somerset claims that it is not their suspect. Their assassin is more than just a person with a mental disorder. They enter the apartment of the individual whose fingerprints matched, assisted by a SWAT unit. After getting in touch with the fingerprint lab, they are astonished to see that the prints are set up as the words, "Help me." They discuss the significance of their work in the lobby as they wait for a match between the fingerprints and a specific person. In Somerset's words, "We are collecting diamonds on a desert island, in the off chance that we get rescued." Mills calls him out on his BS and claims that he witnessed Somerset gaining notoriety today. The fingerprints do match, but Somerset claims that it is not their suspect. More than merely a person with a mental disorder, their murderer has a larger agenda. They enter the individual whose fingerprints matched residence with the assistance of a SWAT unit. Mills is agitated and concerned about everyone outside the workplace. Why can't they just wait for that nutcase to act insanely once more? Somerset does not believe that the murderer is insane. If a guy could tie someone up, keep them alive for a year, and then chop off their hand, imagine the patience required. They have a patient, meticulous, and exact serial murderer. Somerset has an idea after Mills disagrees and mentions a library card. They go to the library, and Somerset lists all of them on the 7 deadly sins, assuming that the murderer must have read one of these books. Somerset pays a member of the FBI to provide him with information on others who have borrowed the books using Mills' money. As it is unlawful, Mills is understandably not amused by this. They obtain their list and review it. One name jumps out among the rest, John Doe. When they get to Doe's door, Mills is still agitated since they don't know what to say to him. They saw a man standing there with some goods when he takes out a revolver and begins firing. A pursuit takes place both inside and outside the building, but nobody is wounded. Mills makes an effort to follow. Eventually, the assailant manages to bring Mills to the ground and take his weapon. At gunpoint, the suspect is holding him. When Mills mutters, "No," to himself, the suspect abandons him and runs away. Mills and Somerset fight once more about whether or not to break in violently at Doe's door. Mills is so enraged that he busts down the door as Somerset attempts to explain to him that they do not have a warrant and have no business being here because the nature of their information is unlawful. Mills employs a thug to inform the cops that she found the guy strange and phoned the detectives in order to give them an explanation for why they are there and forcing open someone else's door. The investigators stroll around Doe's residence. Despite the darkness, there is a lot to see. Even the spaghetti in cans and a hand with fingerprints is discovered by Somerset on a glass shelf. A woman is seen in the portrait on the last shelf. While Somerset examines the killer's diary and is abruptly summoned out by his partner, Mills finds a number of victim photographs. What appears to be the news photographer? That was their serial murderer, indeed. Another issue is that their forensics team has not been able to locate any fingerprints. While Mills continues to display his jittery temperament, Somerset is still reading the journals and appears to be very at ease. Doe's phone abruptly rings. It is the accused person. He expresses his appreciation for police officers and even expresses regret to Mill for harming him during the chase. He tells them that they are in for a surprise and explains that due to these circumstances, he had to move up his timetable. The detectives receive a tip from an S&M store and are provided with a picture of a custom-made item that Doe had bought. When they learn that a murder has taken place at that point, they move on to the following crime site. It is the Desire Sin. The blonde has passed away, and a male is sitting there sobbing. The investigators discuss how to catch the murderer at the pub. They start having a philosophical discussion about why they do what they do. Somerset claims that this is the reality of the society they live in and that this is why he has decided to retire. "We live in a world where it's easier to steal than to earn it, it's easier to beat a kid than to raise him," Somerset adds. Mills disagrees, claiming that he prefers to have faith in his principles. Somerset is restless at home as she considers what Mills said. The investigators approach at the location of their next crime, which is Pride. She had two options: ask for assistance and risk being disfigured, or take the tablets and end her suffering. As they make their way back to their office, Somerset declares that he wants to remain on duty for a few more days until they find the murderer since, if Doe commits the seventh sin, the case will likely never be solved. The detectives become aware of John Doe following the two when they are inside the precinct. While Mills yells at him and commands him to get on the ground, Doe speaks calmly with blood spread over his clothes. He is handcuffed by a team member. While the suspect is talking to his lawyer, the detectives argue about his reasons to turn himself in. Because he had removed the skin off his finger, they never discovered any fingerprints. He doesn't have any bank or work background. They just are aware of Doe's money and educational background. It's the first time ever that Mills and Somerset, as he puts it, are totally in agreement. It doesn't make sense to end before finishing the supposedly accomplished work of the seven sins. The legal representative for Doe bargains with the police. 2 additional bodies are concealed. Doe promises to only accompany the investigators to the bodies at 6 o'clock since he respects them. If the investigators don't accept his offer, he threatens to plead insanity, he says. Otherwise, he will not only show them the bodies, but also write a full confession and plead guilty. Detectives concur to carry it out. It will soon be 6 o'clock. The detectives have armor and wire on them. A helicopter is escorting the automobile that 3 of them are driving. Mills and Somerset have a conversation with Doe while riding. When Somerset attempts to learn more about Doe, he claims that it is unimportant. Whether Mills actually wants to be escorted to the bodies is still up for debate. Doe enlightens Mills on his motivations and assures him that the last act of his work will have the solutions. He is not mad, but he does not deny that it gives him pleasure to turn every transgression against the offender. When Mills thinks the victims were innocent, Doe loses his cool for the first time. He believed that because the fatal sins are so unimportant, people will accept them. He believes that by setting a good example, he may modify this element. He is insane, in Mills' view. Doe claims that they will be remembered, but his primary purpose in being here is to avoid being apprehended. Mills is only here because he saved his life, and Doe wants him to keep that in mind for the rest of his life, or, maybe more accurately, the life he permits him to have. Only Somerset truly maintains his composure, at least on the surface. Doe said that they reached their goal. Except for several high-voltage towers, a wrecked automobile, and an old trailer, not much can be found there. The helicopters can't follow them into the region because of the electrical cables. Mills leads the armored detectives onto the field after removing Doe from the vehicle and handcuffing him. A van unexpectedly comes at 7 o'clock. Somerset moves to intercept it as a result. The vehicle comes to a stop, and the driver exits. He delivers packages, and he brings one for Detective Mills. Somerset dismisses the driver. At first, he is unsure about it, but when he uses his knife to open the box, the contents startle him. Doe resumes expressing his appreciation for Mills. Because to his humble lifestyle and lovely wife, Tracy. Mills is perplexed. Doe acknowledges that he tried to play the spouse when he visited Tracy this morning. As a result of it failing, he took a memento. Her skull. Mills, who is still perplexed and wants to know what is happening and what is in the box, is told to put his rifle away by Somerset as he runs back to them. Doe acknowledges that he is a sinner, and that his fault is jealousy of Mills' commonplace existence. Mills is enraged but doesn't believe what Doe says. The purpose of Doe's plan, according to Somerset, is for Mills to murder her. Doe desires for Mills to get revenge on him and become the sin of wrath. Doe aggravates him even more by claiming that his wife pleaded for both their child's and her own life. Still holding the gun, Mills starts to weep. It comes out that Mills was unaware that his wife was expecting a child. Again requesting the weapon, Somerset explains that Doe can only prevail if Mills kills him. In a fit of rage and despondence, Mills shoots Doe several times, finally carrying out Doe's grand design. The captain assures Mills that he will be taken care of as he sits in the back of a police vehicle. The world is a good place and worth fighting for, as Hemingway once said. Somerset concurs with the latter statement. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay updated on future videos. Leave a like to support the channel.